After the boat being closed up for 4 months, the first course of action is to get the bilge pumped out. Today I have some company with me. Here is Gracie. She is my assistant producer of the show, and she's keeping an eye on things.
Here I have a selection of different tips that I purchased on Amazon for my plastic welding.
This little red handled tool is a deburring tool, and it'll get rid of all those jagged edges from where you do your cutting of the polypropylene plastic product. I had chosen this particular welder because you only have to hold the small handle part in your hand, and you can get it into smaller areas. I've now installed another tip, as you see here, and attached it to the handle. I removed this particular tip, and in doing so you will need a pair of pliers to remove that tip because it is going to be hot.
I usually cut about 5 welding rods before I actually start welding.
I use this saw along with a table saw to do all my cutting. After you've cut out your plastic on your table saw, you'll need to use this red handled deburring tool to get rid of that rough edge along the plastic. In the parts you're going to weld next, you're going to need to rough up those areas with a stainless steel wire brush. After you've done that, you'll need to wash that area thoroughly with a generous amount of acetone. Here you can see me using the little tips that came with the welder. And as you're heating up the area that you're welding, you have to push that rod down into the heated surface.
This is the location of the mast where it goes through the floorboard, and around the mast we've got a lot of damaged wood that you can see here, and we've got to get this repaired. I've got this piece of plastic cut out, taped to the piece of plywood that I'm using for a bench, and this plywood here is basically the shape of the mast where the damaged area is. Just mixing up some resin and hardener and some 406, thicken it up some. Looks like I got to put quite a bit more in yet. Let's try flipping this over. Here we are the next day. The epoxy now is all dried, and I've sanded off the excess. And this damaged area, I'm going to cover it with wood all the way around, make like a collar around the base of the mast.
Here you'll see I've got all the pieces of wood assembled to where I would like to have them. And in our next step, you'll see I've got them already epoxied together. And I didn't line up the little pencil marks, but that's not a big deal. I've got to sand all this off, remove the excess, and then use the router. Here you can see I've attached that piece of teak to the floorboard, and I'm happy with the end result of how it turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below.